Hello movers, welcome to today's video when I'm gonna show you one simple drill that I use with all my clients and through the comeback program that is one of the first steps, a very important step to start restoring core functionality, our breath, and our posture or better alignment. Most people undervalue the importance of having those three things. Once again, our breathing, our core functionality, and our posture, we can call, or joint alignment. That is super important and is often overlooked. And then when we move, we train from being off in those three or somehow not optimal place in those three. That's when things becomes harder. We start feeling tightness in our body. We start feeling that we're not capable as we used to be. We start developing like some chronic pains, and just the body feels kind of like old or older. So it's super important to start restoring those three. I'm going to show you today this simple exercise or drill, but we're going to start with the breath. But for the breath, I'm not going to cover much of the breath now because I made a video not too long ago. I'm going to be sharing it here. That is how I take more time, or where I spend more time explaining diaphragmatic breathing. So for today, if you are ready, come with me. You can pause the video for a moment, find yourself a little space on the floor. We don't need any equipment, just space on the floor. And then let's move together. This is not really much movement, so we're gonna start in these hands and knee positions. So here, we're gonna try to look for a good base of support. We're gonna be using for this drill the floor that is gonna help us align or better align ourselves and start setting up ourselves in that better posture. So hands are gonna be at least shoulder width, or you can go a little bit wider. That's completely okay. Now the knees are gonna be more like hip width, so a little bit more narrow than the hands. I ask most of the time to just keep it compact. Sometimes I measure like about a forearm. Now here is where we're gonna take a moment to set our posture. This is much easier to do when we have the floor that we can push and we can leverage the floor to help us restore. The problem is that as we go through life and the way that we move or we don't move, we start to lose the natural shape of our spine. And then of course, the muscles are gonna be working from that position. Okay, so if we don't have a good alignment, then of course, they're gonna be muscles that are not gonna be able to work, right? Because of the different tension, the different positioning of the joints. So it is a good idea to try to start restoring that, and then we're gonna have a better balance throughout the body just because we have better alignment of the joint. So in this position, then I'm gonna ask you to move the spine, but mostly to try to feel it and to have a reference of where the spine is of the space. Some of us tend to be more in this rounded position, while some other ones are more in this extended position. Neither of those are the natural shape of the spine. The natural shape of the spine is more like a S shape, light S, with a little bit of curve on the upper back and a little more of an arch, a small arch on the low back. So we're gonna try to find that. So a little bit of rounded on the upper back, and for that I'm pushing the floor, and then I'm gonna try to keep the shoulders toward the hips. The head is super important. Most of the time, again, for the same reasons, we end up having the head falling forward. That makes the neck muscles work very hard. Also, the body tends to follow the head, so we all start getting into this more rounded position. So in this hands and knee position, we want to make sure that we bring the chin in, so the head is not here, chin is in, the neck follows the line of the spine, and I'm reaching from the top of the head. Now, I have as neutral spine as I can, but we want to keep checking because this is very important, so I don't want you to rush through it. Then I need to bring awareness to the shoulder blades. Okay, the shoulder blades, I want to bring them closer to the spine in what is called retraction, and then I want to push the floor to bring them into a protraction or away from the spine. So you can practice this. Don't be surprised if it is challenging. We tend to lose the connection to the shoulder blades, which is a problem because the shoulder blades are very important for shoulder stability, mobility, and health. So then you're going to keep them in a slight protraction. So here, don't overrun. Remember, we're going to try to restore neutral shape of the spine, but we're going to be pushing the floor slightly, and we're going to try to keep or find the shoulder blades in protraction, meaning that the upper back and the shoulder blades is a smooth surface. There's no like shoulder blade, deep shoulder blade. Try to find out without overrounding. Not easy to do, okay? We need to start connecting and trying. That's what we use the floor. It's much easier on the floor than just standing to find all of those positions. After we find a pretty good upper body position that you feel like, and this is good if you can do it in front of a mirror or if you can film yourself and start noticing. And then we're gonna check the low back portion because it's very common for some of us to be more in this tucking pelvis position. That kind of goes with upper back rounded, or a bigger arch. This is super common too, an extension of this spine, which will be something more like this, one position, or this, the other position. As you can tell, that wouldn't be an ideal place to be, even though most of us tend to start going into one or the other. So for that, we're gonna try to keep the upper back where it is, so don't move it anymore. This is maybe challenging too. And then we're gonna try to isolate the movement of the pelvis. I call it butt out, and then using the core to bring it more in. And we kind of play to then notice, okay, if this is butt in, all the way butt in, and this is all the way butt out, what will be the kind of in between when I find a little arch, a tiny arch, but I haven't moved my upper back, which is important. Also the shoulder blades, also the head. Okay? Now you can take a break. Your wrists may start getting tired, so you can move them, okay? Stretch them a little bit from this position. Sometimes we do this often. We do a little rocking. Take a little break, okay? I want to explain you why we are doing all of that and why I don't want you to overlook. Because again, we're trying to set up a better alignment of the joints. When we have a better alignment of the joints, the tensions of the muscles are going to be in more balance. When we are off, of course, some muscles are going to be lengthened constantly. They can get tight just by being lengthened all the time. Some other muscles may be just tight trying to hold the position. They're overworking. We don't put them in an ideal place to do their job. Maybe that's an easier way to think about it. We want to try to help all the muscles to have the opportunity to do their job. When we are off alignment, and of course, we don't need to be in perfect alignment to just move well and feel good, but sometimes we go really off alignment, and then everything, even good things that we want to do, like exercising, training, the sport, may be too hard for the body that is already off. Make sense? Let me know in the comments. So after we find that, and you can practice this again with a mirror, maybe filming yourself, then the next step is, okay, now that we have a better alignment, we're using the floor our advantage, right, to set up those big joints. You always think rib cage in alignment with the pelvis, shoulder blades, and head. Then we're gonna practice the breath. Remember, we have I made a video just on breathing that I'm gonna leave the link there. So we're gonna combine, right, our alignment here with the breath. You're gonna inhale while pushing. Sometimes I tell my clients, because people want to get stronger, I say, just holding this position, pushing the floor slightly, finding better alignment, you're already working on your strength. If you stay here for 2, 3 breath cycles. So the breath is inhale through nose, try to expand pelvic floor first, midsection 360, rib cage 360. So you think of expansion of the cylinder in the inhales, and now the exhale, we're gonna practice to do it through mouth. So you're gonna be blowing out through mouth, keeping the shape, don't forget that. You're gonna blow until you're empty slowly, and when you're empty, think of blowing a little bit more. Now, we're adding the core piece. Now you should feel I'm pushing, so reflexively some muscles are turning on, some of the core too, plus the breath. So try it again, inhale, expand, and then exhale. Notice your core within that nice alignment. A lot of core activation. Now, in the next inhale, after you feel what I call the core set, right? All those muscles, deeper core muscles, breathe in slowly, but without losing some of that tension in those muscles that you get after the exhale. Now you're gonna feel that the air, so we're not doing just belly breathing, we're gonna be expanding in all these different areas. So now with this simple drill, we're doing a lot of good things. As I said, we're working on our better alignment, we're working on our breath, being able to breathe while in a better position, and then we start bringing back some of those deeper core muscles that now we're facilitating it because we're in that better shape. Then what I would recommend is to practice getting in that position. So I don't make this video much longer, okay? But that's the power of this simple drill. And then you can practice holding that position, find it, getting aware of your lines, of your shape, and then doing 3, 4 breath cycles, then resting, going back, and you can start adding until it becomes very easy to find. Your breath runs smoothly, and you start bringing more awareness to your deeper core muscles. That is it. Let me know if you find this one helpful, if you find that is challenging and you need more explanation, and I hope you find it valuable. Remember that you can join one of my communities. I have a challenge coming up soon where we just focus on this, restoring the movement foundations, so then all the rest becomes more doable and easier, and we can keep the body feeling good, moving well for the long term. Thank you. I appreciate always your attention. If you enjoyed the video, give it a like. If you haven't done it yet, subscribe, share the channel. It's all super important for me. Thank you, and I see you on the next one.